I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. Today I'm going to be reviewing a rather unique fanfic. One of the reasons why it's unique, well, it's not on fanfiction.net, it was actually sent to me through a message on YouTube. The author of this fanfic is That Fellow Coat, or he's really known as That Fellow with the coat or in the coat, one of the two. But he has his own web show and he also has his own website. Some of the people who do shows on his website include Morgan Ledger, who has 2 shows on his site, and Huey Lewis, also named Logan, and also VG Retro, who unfortunately discontinued his online show. Best of luck to you, VG Retro. Okay, so That Fellow with the Coat, he asked me to review a fanfic that he wrote back in 2006. And this fanfic is very unique because it's a sequel to King Kong, the 2005, was it 2005? Well, you know, the Peter Jackson version. So, when he told me what the fanfic was about, I was quite intrigued. So, let's take a look. I can't tell you what the rating is because it's not on fanfiction.net, so I'm gonna assume it's probably gonna be like rated between T and M. I mean, you know, King Kong was pretty graphic in some parts. I'd say like PG-13-ish, if I recall correctly. Anyway, let's take a look at this fanfic by That Fellow with the Coat. Carl Denham was drinking his champagne at the Warner Brothers studio and laughing with his fellow filmmaker friends. He could not believe that he was here. Just last year, he was rejected by every studio in town, and now after the enormous success of his blockbuster King Kong, the Eighth Wonder of the World, he was with the big dogs. He was having the greatest time until one chairman asked him what his next project would be. Carl was basked in the glory for so long that he hadn't realized that he hadn't thought of what he was doing next. In a hurry, he said that he would be right back. He quickly ran to the nearest telephone booth outside and dialed a number. Schubert's Theater, it said on the other line. Carl quickly spat into the receiver. It's Carl Denham. I need to speak with Jack immediately. I'm sorry, the voice on the other end replied, but he is on his honeymoon. Carl shut down the receiver and quickly remembered that he and Anne were on their honeymoon. However, unbeknownst to him, they were actually in the Schubert's Theater performing a production of Great Expectations. It didn't want to work with Carl again after his last fiasco. And he wonders why. Oh, let's all go to an island. Let's all have fun on this island. Nothing bad's going to happen to you as half our people get killed and then you get kidnapped by a huge ape and then we bring this huge ape to America and then the huge ape kills a bunch of people and then everyone dies. Yeah, let's work with him again. Not. In fact, it was the same case with the rest of his crew, and it was all because of that damn dirty ape, because that damn dirty ape fell off the Empire Strike Building. Don't you mean Empire State Building? Unless it's called the Strike Building in... No, it wouldn't be the... It takes place in New York, so why would it be called the Empire Strike Building? Unless he accidentally meant to put down the Empire Strikes Back, but I don't think so. So, Empire State Building. He kept telling them that it was beauty killed the beast, but they thought he was senile. He needed to find a new cast and crew, but first he needed a story idea. Unfortunately, Carl had writer's block ever since 10, don't you mean then, when his brother hit him... What? Carl had writer's block ever since 10 when his brother hit him on the head with a toy hammer. What? So he's had writer's block ever since he was 10? Is that what you were supposed to say by that? I'm sorry for being confused, but... So how did he write the script to the first movie? Or maybe it would make more sense if it said, Carl has had on and off writer's block throughout his life, having trouble thinking about things because his brother, when he was 10, hit him with a hammer. That would have made more sense than to have it say, so he's had writer's block for a very, very long time since he was 10 years old. I don't know. Okay, let's continue. So Carl thought of what studios did when they ran out of ideas. Make a sequel. Even though Carl Denham was unable to write screenplays, he could still direct pictures and thus was intelligent enough to know that going back to Skull Island for his sequel would not be a good idea. No, really? The first time he went there, he was almost killed by the natives, so he knew not to make the same mistake twice. He drove over to Chinatown to talk to the same man who sold him the map for his previous expedition. He walked into the shop of the 80-year-old Mr. Chan, and immediately he was recognized. "Ah, Mr. Denham. I see that you are back for something new." Carl sighed and told him that he wanted a map to a brand new island. Mr. Chan started to frown and told him that after that fiasco with the giant gorilla, he won't sell him another map again. That monkey will be the death of me, Carl thought to himself at that very moment. He decided to browse the shop and think of a plan in the meanwhile. Just when Mr. Chan walked into the back room, Carl immediately grabbed some maps out of a pot and ran out. He jumped into his car, and a couple minutes later he heard the sounds of gunshots and what he assumed to be Chinese swear words. He returned to the studio and wiped his forehead with a handkerchief. He then rushed to his office and spread the maps onto his desk. That is right after telling his secretary that he doesn't want to be disturbed. It took almost 4 hours for Carl to finally find the perfect map. The island was in the middle, and imprinted on top was the name. The Island of 37 Demons. Well, that sounds safe. While Carl chuckled at the odd number, he put the map in his suitcase and went off to find a new casting crew. Having not found his shooting location, Carl Denham went off to find his pair of actors in the place where he found his last leading lady, the streets. Of course, he knew it was not possible to strike lucky twice, so he went to a new street corner with even more bums than before. Finally, after hours of searching, he found the perfect girl. She had red hair, a small freckled nose, and a face that could stop an entire army. He crouched down and whispered into her ear, "Would you like to get something to eat?" This instantly woke up. Don't you mean she? Instantly woke up, and she leaped onto her feet and gave him a large hug. At Carl's favorite diner, the first words out of her mouth was chicken soup, which he then ordered. Carl went immediately to the chase and asked what her name was. "Holly, no last name. My parents died in a hospital fire when I was born, and a nurse saved my life." "I don't think you need a comma after fire there, that fellow with the coat. However, she died only a couple minutes later, so I don't have a last name." That's sad. While Carl was fighting back tears, he asked her if she ever thought of becoming an actress. Having lived on the streets forever, she had never been to a cinema or the theater, so she didn't know what an actress was. "Well, you pretend to be something else," Carl explained, and then quickly added, "You also get a lot of money." Having wanted to be rich her whole life, Holly accepted his offer to be in his film and asked only if her best friend could also be an actor. They went back to the slums and picked up a friend, a strapping young man who introduced himself as Michael Ernworth. "I'm in business," Carl thought to himself. Now, all he needed was a cameraman and a writer. After dropping Holly and Michael off at his apartment building and ordering both of them a large lunch and more sophisticated clothes, he rushed off to the studio.